On News Hour Debate 1 this evening, Ravi Shankar Prasad of the BJP Chief Spokesperson and former Union Minister, joined by RPN Singh, Government Spokesperson and Central Minister. I'm also joined by Jay Panda. We'll be joined by Kiran Bedi also on this debate. Now, Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad, just to begin with you, I don't know if you've been able to see the precise draft that the government has been circulating. I don't know whether you've got your hands on the draft itself. From what you're seeing and the stance you've seen the government and the Congress party take today, what do you make of it?
Well, Arnav, to be very frank to you, we haven't got a copy of the draft at all till now. But what we hear from media reports is that the draft which have been approved by the cabinet yesterday is a completely new bill. And they propose to withdraw the earlier bill which they introduced and which was subjected to standing committee approval. Therefore, as we hear, we have certain very serious objections on many issues, including on the issue of CBI, on the manner of selection heavily skewed in favor of the government. Those things we are hearing about, but we'll certainly give our structured view once we come to have a copy of the bill.
Of the manner in which this entire, the discussions have gone on, and what appears to be a fairly last-minute manner of introducing the bill and discussing it, do you see any hope of this bill going through, Mr. Prasad?
Well, Arnav, as far as we in the BJP are concerned, we are very clear we want an effective Lokpal bill to be passed. It is the right of the parliament. We want to articulate our views. We want to participate in a serious discussion. But what is troubling us, yes, government is entitled to have the input as they have included Prime Minister, but the selection process again has gone heavily skewed in favor of the government. The autonomy of the CBI is again a very serious issue. After all, if we don't want a toothless bill at all, if need be, we have got the right to introduce our own amendments, which we will. And 27, 28, 29th is the 3 days allocated for this. That's what we hear. We'll do our best. But all of us, whether the Congress party or the BJP or the entire polity, they need to understand that the country wants an effective Lokpal, a proper mechanism. People are fed up with corruption. And I think it is very important that the polity of the country rises to those aspirations.
Okay, now we have a couple of issues here. Let me first bring in the government representative RPN Singh to respond to some of the points you made. Kiran Bedi, welcome to the debate. RPN, one point which I'd like to raise here, and I also want Jay Panda and Ravi Shankar Prasad to come in on this. I am told that of what we are hearing from our sources, there will be no transparency on complaints against the Prime Minister as per the proposed draft. Is this true? Will complaints against the Prime Minister not be made public? Why is the proceeding against the Prime Minister proposed to be in camera, not even accessible through the Right to Information Act? Why?
Arnav, I will not like to speculate on the bill. Let it be tabled in the House of in Parliament. These are all media speculations that we are hearing. We've got tomorrow, we are hearing that is going to be tabled. Once it is tabled, we'll be able to answer all the questions that you have raised. But the first thing that I'd like to tell you is that the bill, what the government is doing, that it has is trying to get an effective bill in front of Parliament, which can be discussed and passed. And there are various issues of corruption that are being used, which are being raised. And I think one of the biggest things I think which the media has missed is what is being done about the citizens' draft. That is actually where the common man of this country is being
before we go into what this
every day.
No, before we go into what the media has missed, let me get in Kiran Bedi also. Let's get the third voice in. Let this be an open debate so the people of this country get a sense of where the politics around this is placed. Kiran Bedi.
Can I just finish first or no?
No, but you didn't answer my question around the secrecy surrounding an investigation against the Prime Minister, and I have a follow-up question to that.
When the bill has not been introduced or tabled, how can I speculate? I represent the government. It's going to be tabled. I can't speculate.
Okay, let's get in Kiran Bedi. How can you speculate? That you have a point there. Kiran Bedi, specifically beyond the CBI, in having investigative powers or not, from what you're hearing, one, are you happy with the selection panel for the CBI director?
It's not known. Again, Arnav, we do not know the scheme of things. Is it Leader of Opposition, and the Prime Minister and the Chief Justice of India, or is it Leader of Opposition, Prime Minister and Lokpal? I would hope that it's not CGI, but it's Lokpal. Let's keep the CGI out of these appointments, because we do not know future equations later on. So I do not know if Lokpal is a part of the selection process.
From
If
what
it
we
isn't,
know,
then
from
it's a
what we
matter
know,
of
it's
concern.
not. From what we know, it's not.
Well then, that's exactly the problem then. Then it's a matter of true concern. You're
Yes,
again keeping
yes.
Lokpal out. Why are you creating a Lokpal if you're not bringing in giving the administrative control to it? If
I
you're
think
not giving the postings and transfers to it?
These are valid points. Ravi Shankar Prasad raised his hand. Mr. Prasad, yes, please come in.
I think what Kiran Bedi is saying is quite valid. Chief Justice of India must be insulated from these appointing processes. My personal view, I don't know the draft, what the draft is.
Yes.
Take the case, suppose the selection process result is challenged before the Supreme Court. The Chief Justice will have to hear it, or some other judges. Now if Chief Justice is a part of the process, it will have sensitivity and complications. The most copybook example is the CVC appointment of Mr. Thomas, in which you played a very crucial role in exposing it, or no. I need to congratulate you. Ultimately, Sushma ji's point of objection and dissent was upheld by the Supreme Court as far as the selection process is concerned. Therefore, conventional wisdom, transparency, and also taking into account all the consideration, it would be appropriate that the Chiefs of India is kept out of the process.
Jay
And
Panda,
Lokpal be there.
No, these are specific points, Mr. RPN Singh. I know that you would have a contrary view, but let's hear the other side. Mr. Jay Panda, would it be fair to say that Team Anna is moving ahead with a predetermined approach that it has to somehow carry out this protest on the 27th? Or do you feel they are justified right now in exerting that kind of pressure on Parliament? I'd like you to make your point to Kiran Bedi tonight.
I think any Indian is entitled to agitate, to create pressure on Parliament to move forward on something that has been stuck for more than 4 decades. I don't think that's the issue. I think there's a real concern here about the autonomy of the CBI, on which let me qualify, I too haven't seen the draft bill, but it seems from reports that the government is going back on what had earlier been discussed. Now here this is crucial, because without administrative independence of the CBI, there have been allegations that in several CBI investigations, when the investigators are getting too close to the truth, then they are sometimes transferred. This has come up in court discussions. That will not work. Without an autonomous, independent CBI, there is no point in having a Lokpal, because it will be toothless.
Look, there are specific
authority.
There are specific issues which have now emerged, and I'm sure these will be debated. For example, Jay Panda, you'll be interested. I want the BJP's response also. We are told the government wants to push this under Article 253 of the Constitution, which is the legislation for giving into effect international agreements, which gives the Parliament the power to make laws for whole or any part of the territory of India. Will this be also a possible flashpoint? Will this be seen as transgressing into states' powers? Jay Panda.
Well, I will have to study that particular clause of lawmaking before I can comment on it. Of course, there is an issue regarding states versus centre rights, but that is not the main issue here. The main issue of concern is that, if we create a toothless Lokpal, it will be ineffective, and it will make the citizens of India even more cynical about our political system than they have already become. Let me give you an example. On the one hand, the government wants to call the Lokpal a constitutional authority, but it doesn't want to give it any real power. A real comparison would be with the Election Commission. Now, if the Election Commission did not have administrative authority when it conducted elections, then it could not transfer officers in charge of elections in certain areas, even if they were partial, even if they were blatantly unfair. And so obviously it could not conduct a fair election if that was the case. So similarly, if the CBI's independence is not there, if the government has the right to transfer officers,
if this is the point,
it will not function.
No, but if this is the point, my question is, before I go, RPN Singh, Hartosh, I'm coming to you. Mr. RPN Singh, Sonia Gandhi has completely backed this bill, saying today, and I quote, "It is a fabulous piece of legislation." Does this indicate that your government has now reached a point of no return? That a decision was taken in the last 24 hours that come what may, let's go on a collision course with Team Anna if required. But no more negotiation.
See, what we are forgetting, Arnav, is this bill is not about Team Anna or about the government or about political parties. It is about the citizens of this country.
Precisely.
I think in all these debates, we forget the citizens of this country. If you see the Citizens Charter that has come, it impacts the common man where corruption actually starts from. You have to start at the root. If a common man, if a pregnant lady goes to the government hospital, she doesn't get a bed till she has to pay a bribe. A pension, you have to go for a pension, you have to pay a bribe. If you want to go get a passport, you have to pay a bribe. If you have to go get a driving license, you have to go pay a bribe.
No,
That is where corruption emerges from.
No, but what about
As
the
far as
independence of the
Lokpal is,
CBI?